Hi, I'm James Tabrin, and I'm the Director of GRC Engineering at Acquia. And if you've been through the ATO process, you know the pain. Months of manual labor to draft a 400-page system security plan, manual evidence gathering, and 6 months of testing those controls. And at the end of it, you get a snapshot in time that starts going stale the day it's signed. There's a lot of talk in the industry about continuous ATO, or cATO, and it means different things to different people. You may be leveraging a GRC platform today to manage your ATO, and you could be seeing 20 to 50% control inheritance leveraging your CSP, like AWS GovCloud or GRC platform. But what we're going to talk about today is something entirely new. A compliance automation engine that will help you achieve nearly 80% control inheritance and change the ATO process from a box checking exercise to measurably reducing risk in real time. Acquia cATO Bridge replaces the static document cycle entirely. Instead of a PDF that's almost immediately out of date, you get an OSCAL-native living dashboard that's built on automated evidence. Using cATO Bridge, teams that used to take 12 to 18 months for their initial ATO are doing it in weeks. Let's dive into the demo. This is the cATO Bridge executive overview. Every percentage and number you see here is live. It isn't based on a self-attestation or a spreadsheet. It's being fed real-time data from our production environment. If a developer changes a configuration in AWS or a user bypasses MFA in Okta, these numbers move immediately. The top row here gives you a really quick snapshot of your overall control environment. In the dashboard, each control family has its own card, but I want to bring your attention to the Access Control Family card. It displays the percentage of implemented controls in the control family. Below the percentage, you'll notice a green pulsing dot indicating that the data used to assess the implementation status of the controls and its source is flowing to the tool and was received 2 minutes ago. The bottom of the card provides a clear readout of the total number of controls that are implemented versus those that are partially implemented and those that need remediation. To your right, you see the heartbeat of the system. This is our integration layer. You'll see logs coming in from GitLab build artifacts, CrowdStrike, and Splunk. We're mapping raw technical events directly to NIST 853 controls in real time. Let's look at a failure. AC2 is flagged as needs remediation. Instead of hunting through logs, I click it. The system tells me exactly why. This is audit-ready evidence available to the ISO instantly. cATO Bridge can also leverage AI and provide a recommended remediation action, reducing the time required for an ISO to put a plan in place to work with the necessary teams to implement the control. In most federal agencies, creating a single POAM like this takes a senior ISO half a day of manual data entry and log diving. We're about to automate that entire 4-hour workflow into a single click. Across a standard environment with 50 to 100 findings per year, we're returning over 300 hours of high-value time back to the agency. When I click Generate POAM, I'm saving the ISO roughly 3 hours of administrative pain. While the engineers still need to fix the underlying code, we're about to eliminate the documentation gap. The 300 hours we save annually is 300 hours the ISO can now spend on proactive risk hunting instead of reactive data entry. When I click Generate POAM, the system will take that automated finding, package the evidence, and create a formal compliance record. Now let's go over to the POAMs page. We've just closed the loop. We detected a drift in compliance, documented the weakness, and assigned a remediation timeline, all without leaving the tool. This modal provides necessary information for tracking and managing your POAMs. The very top of the modal provides a summary of the POAM details. It includes a detailed plan of action to remediate the failed control, a set of milestones along with due dates, and the ability to assign each task to a specific user. The tool also supports team collaboration to allow for status updates. In our control page, you'll also notice that for the assessors, we speak their future language. Every action we take can be recorded in OSCAL-native JSON. This means our SSP and our POAMs are machine readable. We can hand this digital package to a 3P AO, and they can verify our entire security posture in minutes rather than weeks. Now, we've arrived at the core of the authorization package, the SSP. In traditional GRC, the SSP is a static document, a 400-page PDF that's outdated the moment it's saved. In this platform, the SSP is a dynamic digital copy of your actual environment. Let's look at AC2. Look at the digital thread view here. For every control like AC2, we don't just have a policy statement. We have a direct link to the technical truth. You can see our Okta identity provider is satisfying the requirement and when it was last verified. Notice the timestamp. We aren't looking at data from an audit 6 months ago. We're looking at data from 5 minutes ago. This is the heart of cATO. If a configuration drifts out of compliance at 2 p.m., the SSP reflects that failure by 2:05 p.m. Your authorization is based on reality, not static attestations. And I want to talk about the shared responsibility model. We've tagged controls that are inherited from AWS GovCloud. This significantly reduces our compliance burden. We aren't wasting time documenting things AWS already covers. We're inheriting their FedRAMP high PATO and focusing our energy only on the provider controls that we actually manage. When it's time for a formal review, we don't spend weeks gathering evidence. We hit export. Because we're OSCAL-native, this generates a machine-readable package that an auditor can ingest into their own tools. We've turned compliance from a manual project into a continuous automated service. To wrap up, what we've looked at today isn't just a vision for the future. It's a proven model for modern federal security. At Acquia, our cATO solution delivered these results. Our architecture covers 78% of a standard agency's NIST 853 moderate baseline through pure automation. By replacing manual data calls with our continuous authorization system, we've achieved a 50% reduction in total assessment time. But this isn't just about speed. It's about the mission's bottom line. When we eliminate the documentation gap and give those 300 hours of administrative labor back to the ISO, the scale of efficiency is massive. For a large federal agency, this transition to data-driven compliance leads to an estimated $4 million in operational savings over the authorization lifecycle. We've moved past the era of paperwork-heavy, point-in-time security. With Acquia, your system is always authorized, your data is always real, and your budget is focused on innovation rather than bureaucracy. I'd love to talk about how we can deploy this engine in your environment to start realizing those savings today. Thank you.